Narcissistic abuse syndrome is a serious condition which occurs after being in a relationship with someone who suffers from narcissistic personality disorder. And this could be a relationship with an intimate love partner, family member, friend, work colleague, authority figure, in fact, any person at all. In this video, I want to share with you the top 8 signs that you're suffering from narcissistic abuse syndrome. Number 1 is personal criticism. Narcissists make you feel intensely unworthy by discrediting your appearance, work, friends, or interests, as well as telling you what a bad person you are and how you don't treat the narcissist well enough. Do you feel like you are defective or not good enough most of the time? It's so painful to experience that no matter how many shapes you try to twist yourself into, the narcissist is never going to be happy with you. Or if they are, it's only because it suits their agenda at the time. Myself and so many of my clients were shocked how the accusations were the things that the narcissist did. And like us, you may have thought or said, do you have a mirror? It's you who does that. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more in point number 7. All right, number 2, it's all about them. A narcissist loves to be the center of attention and will isolate you from your friends, family, or hobbies that you get enjoyment from. Do you spend very little time on personal interests? And if you do pursue them, does the narcissist get mad, accusatory, or jealous? If this is the case, it's likely that the narcissist will play tit for tat and threaten you with retaliation actions to punish you for being so apparently selfish toward them. It's horrific when you're faced with having to try to appease, justify yourself, or argue simply to have basic human rights, which is your own healthy and normal interests and connections. Myself and so many people in this community found ourselves giving in to keep the peace. It seemed easier because we were so exhausted. And before we knew it, our world got smaller and smaller, and the narcissist in our life demanded more and more of our energy, time, and attention as our soul, finances, and health was being sucked dry. Number 3, being adored and then abhorred. This form of abuse is very sinister and hard to identify because at times a narcissist will treat you so nicely. We can be so confused in our thinking because this person at times is absolutely a delight. So caring, thoughtful, and considerate. Yet if you think about it, you should be able to identify why there are vast differences in their behavior. Does this person treat you nicely when they want something and then treat you with cruelty and disdain when something is detonated within them on a hairline trigger, something that can go their way? Narcissists are nice because of the high of narcissistic supply, which is the attention and acclaim that their ego has received, or because they're trying to love bomb and manipulate someone for their own agenda. Then they can crash down into a seething pit of moodiness and anger because their ego has not been fed adequately or because the agenda did not work out the way they wanted it to. I think one of the most horrific things about narcissistic abuse is this. We may be feeling adored, and then the narcissist all of a sudden wants to leave us in a flash. Is there any greater emotional rug that can be pulled out from under us? Possibly not. So many of the people I've helped heal, just like myself, suffered the incredible agony of being idolized and discarded, oftentimes in very short succession, which understandably leaves people reeling. Number 4, your diminished health and energy. Narcissistic abuse syndrome wears you down over time, making you tired, drained, and often causes a variety of health issues. Has your health, happiness, and well-being suffered because of being involved with this person? So many people being narcissistically abused start to suffer from chronic fatigue, adrenal malfunction, fibromyalgia, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Depression, anxiety, and eating and sleep issues are also common. Your emotional, mental, and physical health may be so affected that it feels nearly impossible to carry out daily functions. Things may have got so bad that you're unable to work or at serious risk of losing your job. I understand how terrible it is to lose your health because of being abused by a toxic person. My health plummeting nearly caused me to lose my life, and I've met many people who have or are suffering from varying degrees of serious mental, emotional, and physical health issues. Number 5, the way a narcissist argues. A surefire way to know that you're dealing with a toxic individual is how they argue. Narcissists twist and bend facts when confronted, refuse to take responsibility or be accountable, throw all the blame back on you, get off the topic, bring up things that are not even relevant, throw tantrums, stonewall, or exit the scene when they don't get their own way. They downright refuse to get it, and eventually, after days or weeks when you think they finally have realized fundamental decent behavior that any normal adult would, they make comments where you realize that that resolution with them never existed. It's like arguing with a 5-year-old in a grown-up's body. Does this describe the mind-bending conversations that you've been having with this person? And of course, we can be totally forgiven for thinking that we're losing our mind when we're going through this. You may feel like you would get more sense out of a wall by banging your head against it. And I think all of us who've gone through narcissistic abuse and have confronted a narcissist, I think all of us have experienced some version, if not the full extent of this behavior. Number 6 is your addiction to the narcissist. Relationships with toxic individuals can be shockingly addictive. If you've taken breaks from or gone no contact, you will notice that you're having a really hard time getting on with your life. It's likely you will constantly feel the need to think about this person or even check up on them. Is this true for you? You may have all sorts of strong urges to make contact to try to be understood, see if you can bargain with them differently and fix things. You may want to make contact when you're triggered about something that you found out, wanting accountability or an apology, or to hurt the narcissist back for what he or she has done to you. The terrifying thing about this is each time we have the thought in our head and the urge is in our being to reconnect, some deeper part of us knows it's not going to go well, that we're only going to suffer further abuse. Yet the terrible addiction causes us to do it anyway, and then we plummet further and further into feeling powerless. I've found commonly that a severe addiction process happens to most people who've been narcissistically abused. In fact, past heroin addicts have told me that the addiction to a narcissist is 10 times more powerful. Number 7 is narcissistic projection. A narcissist's favorite tool to ensure their behavior is unnoticed or beyond reproach is projection. They point out faults within you that they exhibit themselves, blame you for the problems they cause, and make you feel like everything is your fault. Is this person blaming you and never taking genuine, lasting responsibility? You will discover that this person uses all sorts of tactics to cover their tracks and is a pathological liar who can make up facts and use allies, real or imagined, to back up their false claims and stories. There is no sense of conscience when they do this. And even if you catch the narcissist lies and acts out red-handed, they will either continue to lie or have every excuse as to why you made them do it and it was your fault anyway. It's incredibly painful when you've been abused to have blame twisted back on you and now find that you're trying to defend your integrity, truth and credibility rather than receiving the human caring and repair of what's been done to you. Many people, including myself, have fallen for narcissistic projection in the past and become so confused by the narcissist's lies and accusations that we took the blame for things that were not our doing whilst the narcissist got away with it. As a result, we then experienced a further diminishing of our boundaries and rights. Which leads us into the last point, number 8. Your personal identity is eroded. Being in a close relationship with a toxic person means that they strip your personal identity, which is your self-belief and self-worth. You lose hope, drive and purpose for who you are, what you stand for and believe in, your passions and interests and your life in general. Does this describe your current feelings? Do you feel like an empty shell who's had the life force sucked out of you? It's very likely that when you try to get inspired and move forward, that you fall back into feelings of despair, unable to release yourself from the past, and you struggle to believe that you will ever feel normal and happy again. Myself and so many of my clients and people in this community have suffered exactly these feelings. The total frustration and torment of this time, unlike other times, I can't just simply get up and get on with it. We feel like that there's nothing left to do that with and that we're just too damaged. To help you get crystal clear on whether you are suffering from narcissistic abuse syndrome, I've created a quiz which you can access on Facebook Messenger. The link to this is at the top right of this video. And I want you to know that if you're suffering from this, there is hope. There is in fact more than hope. Myself and this community of over 100,000 thrivers are living proof that you can come out the other side, healing from all the despair, pain and health issues you've been experiencing to become the most healthy, whole and radiant person you could ever imagine. Not just surviving narcissistic abuse, but thriving after it. If you're just beginning your journey and you're not sure where to get started, I've created a free 16-day recovery course which breaks down the step-by-step processes to start getting relief and build a path forward. Or if you're ready to take the most powerful step forward, I recommend you take a look at the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, which to date has over 20,000 graduates who are now thriving in their abuse-free lives. And you'll find the links to these below this video. So I hope this video helped give you clarity to a situation which I know can be so confusing, and one that possibly you never imagined you would be involved in. Please know you're not alone. Myself in this community is standing by you to make sure that you can heal from this and truly thrive after narcissistic abuse. And I'll speak to you soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye.